Hello, grade 10. We're going to do the chapter on decisions, chapter 5. What is decisions? Well, it's very simple. If you ask a question like, if the weather is cold, then you wear a jacket. Else, you go swimming. That is a decision, and that is how the Delphi code is structured as well. But to begin, let's have a look at this on this flowchart and algorithm on page 90. You'll see the algorithm on the left-hand side and the flowchart on the right-hand side. And the algorithm says this is how to make hot chocolate. First, add water to a kettle and turn kettle on. So there you have the flowchart. Begin. Add water to kettle, turn kettle on. Add 14 spoons of hot chocolate. Well, I do not see the 4 teaspoons of hot chocolate being added, but I'm assuming that it should be over there, you know, in one of the squares, or rectangle, should I say. If the user wants milk, then add 30 mils of milk. So there's the question. Do you want milk? Yes, then you add 30 mils. No, then you ask the next question. If the user wants sugar, then add 1 teaspoon of sugar. So here's the diamond. You want sugar? Yes, add 1 teaspoon. No. Then you go to the next step, which is adding the boiling water, 200 mils, and then a stirring, and then the end. So that is a simple, those 2 diamond shapes are your if statements. It's asking questions that are either true or false, and that's it. Alright, now we have an algorithm for whether a number is even or odd. Here's the algorithm, and there's the flow chart. So read in the number, that is an input component, input shape, so it's a parallelogram or input. And now we're going to determine the remainder. The remainder is a number mod 2. So the processor goes and calculates, can you divide 2 into the number without any remainder? I mean, what is the remainder after you divide 2 into the number? And then you ask the question, is the remainder naught? If it's naught, then there's a parallelogram to display that the number is even. If it's not naught, then we want to know if the remainder is 1. Because if it's 1, then we display odd. We don't have to ask if the remainder is 1, by the way. Because if the remainder is not naught, then it's going to be 1 anyway. And then you display the number is odd, and then end. So basically, it's just a case of conditions evaluate to true or false, and that is what you do in code. Now we don't have to move that. Now activity 5.1, use the skills that you've learned so far, then develop algorithms and flowcharts for the following problem situations. The person must decide whether or not to take an umbrella when going to the shop. Well, it's quite simple. If it is going to rain, then take umbrella, else, well, you don't even have to have an else, but else don't take umbrella. That's it. Read a person's gender in the format male or female. If the person is a female, display F, otherwise display M. So let's read a person's gender. Okay, so algorithm. Step 1, get gender. Okay, step 2, if gender is equal to male, alright, sorry, I've got to go and format these lines to left. And then 3, if gender equals female, then display F. Here's an algorithm, that's it. Right, draw a trace table for the even and odd number flowchart using the input value of 6. Nah. Draw a flowchart that receives a subject name and a mark out of 100. You can do that one. Draw a flowchart that receives a subject name and a mark out of 100 for the subject, then displays the message passed if the mark is 50 or more. Okay, draw a flowchart. So we can draw that flowchart quickly. It's not so difficult. Go to a Word document. We're going to put in our shapes. I'll do the trace table for even and odd just now. I'll just do this first because it's more fun. I like to do the fun stuff first. Maybe it's silly, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to insert some shapes because obviously we have to insert shapes for our flowchart. And we have a start. Okay. And then we're going to go and insert an arrow. Go to the first step. And I'm going to just do that first, then I'll put the words in afterwards. So receives a subject name. I'll get the subject name. So how do we get that? From a parallelogram. Remember, parallelogram is input. Get the subject name. And then we're going to get the subject. I'm going to copy. Paste. Copy and paste because we're going to have two parallelograms because we're going to receive two things. So then we get the subject name. I mean the mark. Next thing we're going to do is display pass. If the mark is 50 or more, so then we're going to ask a question. We have to get another arrow. And we're going to ask a question using a diamond. Where is the diamond? There it is. Okay. And in this diamond we'll have yes or no answers. So then we're going to have arrow branching out. What are we going to do at the end of it? We're going to display pass if the mark is 50 or more. So insert arrow there. And always got to have, for every diamond you have to have two arrows coming out of it. If you don't, then your algorithm is wrong. Okay, and we're not going to display anything if the mark is not 50 more, so we'll have an end. You have to have a begin and end in your flowchart. So, right, so now we're going to go and put in, we want to put a parallelogram in here, parallelogram for display. Input and output is always parallelograms. And then after that happens, we're going to go to this one right here. So there we have it. There's our flowchart. Now I'm going to put some words in. What we do is right click and add text, and that's start or begin, whatever you want to call it. And this one we're going to go and get subject name. This is a get subject mark out of 100. Okay, then we go to the next step. Is it 50 or more? is mark greater than or equal to 50? Question mark. And yes, if it is, then we're going to display pass. Display pass. And then this is going to be an end of the flow chart. Now we need to put some yes and no boxes over here, so we're going to put a text box. I'm just going to get one of these over here, text box, and draw text box, and I'll put in a yes here, or true. Let's make it true, and we'll put, we can get rid of the outline, and then all I have to see, it looks like it's a word floating around there. Okay, and now I'm going to copy that text box so I don't have to go and create it again, and I'm dragging it down here to this arrow here, because this, if it's false. So there you have it. There's the flow chart. Start, get the subject name, get the mark out of 100. Is the mark greater than 50? True, then display pass. If it's not, then we just go straight to the end. Right, so there you have it. Now the trace table for even and odd number flow charts are using an input value of 6. Oh gosh, we have to get another 6 there. You see here we have a flow chart here. If the number is 6, now I'm going to use my pen over here. I'm going to use this flow chart. I'm going to use my sign. I'm just going to type a 6 there. Right. Now, read the number 1, number 2. What is the remainder? Our number 2 is, it's actually going to be 0, isn't it? Not 1. So that is my 6 is 0. Then line number 3, is the remainder equal to 0? And we are going to true over here. Yes, it is. And then we're going to go to line number 4. So in line number 4, we have to actually go put a 4 here. 4. We're going to output the word 6 is even. Okay, and this is even, and then we go straight to end, and then we go to stop. So these ones are out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch them out like this. Oops, why is that 1 there? We don't want this line. Delete. We don't want that. Delete. We don't want that. Delete. We don't want that. So this is going to be the trace table for if the number is 6. Can you see that they have got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it goes to the end. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I don't know why that is. I can actually fix that. Let's delete it, and we're going to type in a 4 because it's line number 4, not number thing. I'm just going to delete that 5, just cross it out. So there it is. There's a trace table for if the number is 6. In line 4 we say the output. The remainder equal to 1, we don't even go to that one. Okay, so that is how you do if then and else statements in terms of algorithms and flowcharts. And we'll see you tomorrow for some more.